Hello, everyone, and welcome to Off the Shelf, a show where we take things off the shelf and talk about them. But before we get into all that, guys, we would love for you to hit that subscribe button, share our videos, like that videos, and also hit that bell as well, guys, so you know exactly when our videos will appear. And joining me, as always, the man with 1,000 names, Optimus Dove.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to roll out.
Roll out. Oh, is that a clue?
That is a clue. That is a clue because
interesting.
We're gonna get into what is it?
Yeah.
So I had to start off with one that was going to be a little wild. And I had
okay.
Yeah, I had to start because this is a long 34-year journey for me.
Wow.
Because there was something I wanted as a child that I always wanted on my shelf. I never was able to get. Our friend Jason Roy Gaston always says, toys from the 1980s that my parents never gave me and I'm still salty about. Well, that's what this is. But boy, oh boy, was this a journey to get it. Let me tell you, it is.
So what are we pulling off the shelf, Joe? What is it?
Show you.
You're building up the suspense, man.
I am. I love that.
I'm intrigued.
Well, let me just do it the way that I got into my life and why I love it so much. Okay.
Beautiful. Yep. So this is what you, as a kid, you've seen this.
So 1984. I'm moving to New York from Rhode Island, a little tiny state. In 1886, I made my final transition to New York, and then in '84, my uncle had a brown Gremlin. Now, I don't know if you guys had that in Australia. The Gremlin, it's a Ford car. No. It's basically a hatchback. It's this tiny little thing, but in the back of it, he had this giant speaker. And back then, you could buy cassettes, so the cassette player was like wired into the car.
Oh, so it's all like an 8-track.
Yeah, it's like an 8-track. Yeah. And that theme was playing when he took me, and I was like, "What's going on?" Wow. And when I saw that on the big screen, I was like, "Holy shit!" And I've been a fan ever since. So 1984, almost 40 years. But here we go. So I'm going to pull it off the shelf. See, this is my Casa de Palm.
Wow.
Massive. You got and look at all these Transformers that I have.
Transformers.
Yes.
Still in the original packaging there, I see, Joe.
That's still in the original packaging. I can't break my heart to open them. Some of them are a little messed up, so they're open. But none of them are this amazing piece, this Optimus Prime.
The Optimus.
So this Optimus Prime, yes. This Optimus Prime is very special because not only did I get this comic in 1984, this is goes with it. It's the companion to the movie.
Did you get this comic yourself, or was this given to you?
Myself.
Wow.
I got the first 4 issues in a bargain bin because at the time, like, the movie was hot, but the comics weren't. Everybody was collecting Marvel. There was a big event, and Crisis was going on around the same time, so. Nobody was really thinking about Transformers. So I got all 4 for like, I think $5 at the time, which was a steal. One comic is $5 now. Yeah. But let me tell you, it was a huge moment for me to get this figurine. So let me get into where I got it. So I got my driver's license late at night in life.
Late. Oh, okay. How old were you when you get a driver's license?
I was about 24 when I got my driver's.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I was late because there's something strings there, but I was like, I don't really need it. I got my uncle, my aunt, and the bus.
Yeah, that's it. That's Uber back then. That's how
I had my family Ubers. So what ended up happening is I really wanted that Optimus figure, and there's only 80,000 of them in circulation.
Okay. Wow.
It's exactly like 81.75, I think.
Yeah.
So very few for a mass product toy.
Mhm.
But the original Optimus Prime, you only got one per shipment. So I had begged them, hey, can you take me to the toy store? We used to have this thing called merry-go-round. Like, can you take me to merry-go-round? I can get Optimus Prime. I really want Optimus Prime. So my mom bought me Rodimus Prime. I was like, all right, I'll take it. You know, that's cool. That's Rodimus. You know, I loved him.
Have you still got it?
I got Rodimus. You know, I don't have it. It got lost. In my house had this old wooden stuff and it like creaked, so like things would open up. And I think it must have fallen in and gone. Or, you know, I had this real ruffian that lived in my neighborhood. He would steal stuff from everybody's place, so he could have stole it. So there's like all these things that could have happened. But
It could be on eBay right now, Joe.
It probably is. Probably is. It's not worth much. Now, ironically, the Optimus Prime from my time, if you get the original M package, it's worth about $1,000. The original, from 1985, I think it came out. Original Optimus Prime, $1,000 in box, unopened. You know, if you want to buy the toy itself without, you know, unboxed, it's $300. So it still fetches a hefty price for an out of box toy. Yeah, because they only came. So a unit is 12 toys. So they would send like 3 boxes per shipment. So merry-go-round, KB Toys. These are the toy stores we had in America.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you had KB Toys, Toys R Us, merry-go-round, and Gifts for You. Those were like the toy stores in the New York area. So I would go to all 4 of them and never had an Optimus Prime. I'm like, what the hell, man? So
that popular? Like,
no, they only got one. So if everybody got 4 boxes, you were lucky if each one of those boxes had an Optimus Prime. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you at max had 4 Optimus Primes. At max. Yep. But most of the time you got out of the 4 shipments of a unit you only got 1. Yep. So they were like,
have you got a closer photo of the Optimus?
I'd
love to see a little bit of detail. Oh, there we go, Joe.
Yeah. So
how tall is he? What is he like?
He is 12 inches. That's what she said.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know,
there it is.
He's 12, and then he's got a stand that actually you push the button and he talks.
Oh wow.
It doesn't have the Peter Cullen voiceover, so it does no justice to play it here, because it was like, oh, that's the wrong button. it was like scary. Nope. There it is. That's what happened when I pushed the button for the first time. I was so excited. So what happened was I was 24. So that's oh God, that's 20 years later.
20, yeah.
I got my car. You know, I never was able to get it when I was young. My mom never bought them. Nobody ever got it. It wasn't like online buying at that time. So 24 years old, I'm like, you know what? I can get this now. I can go find one. And then, I was 24. I just started my job at 9 West. I had a huge boost in pay. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some type, because there got to be something. So I look around the internet. Yeah, I look around the internet, and sure enough, they were like, oh, the 20th anniversary of Transformers is coming out. I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. So they played it in the theater again. So I'm right back to nostalgia. I'm the original theater where I saw it at 20 years prior. They were playing it again. Nice. So I was like, going in, saw it with my ex-girlfriend. I had this little tiny black car, and I'm playing the theme over and over again. Transformers! So I was so excited. So I love it. Yeah, and then, my ex was like, what the fuck?
Did you think your car would transform as well?
I was hoping. You were hoping. You're like, every time. I'm like, come on, transform. Come on, buddy. But it never happened. Never happened. Not like Shia LaBeouf. He got all the good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I get this. I saw the movie again, and then at the end of the movie, they say, announcing special 20th anniversary edition DVD, and not included, but Transformers the movie 20th anniversary, Optimus Prime cast iron metal figure. I was like, oh God, that's way cooler, because cast iron, the ones that I got when I was a kid, they were all plastic. Plastic. Yeah. The only metal was like the little rivets for their like the joints and everything. So I was like, all right, I gotta go and get this. I went all over. I lived in Westchester. So Westchester is like so it's New York City, the Bronx, Westchester. Yep. So there was KB Toys was going out of business, so I knew they wouldn't have it, but I tried anyway. Toys R Us was still in there, so I went to Toys R Us. They didn't have them. I said, when are you guys getting shipments in? They're like, we only got one shipment of that. And we're only getting one shipment of that because it's not as popular. So I
Yeah.
was like, you mother. So I went to all over Lower West Shore. Merry-Go-Round was still there up until recently. Merry-Go-Round just closed down. So Merry-Go-Round outlasted all of them and outlasted even Toys R Us. Merry-Go-Round held on until the end, man. They were like, no. So I went to Merry-Go-Round. So that's the Bronx, Lower Westchester. So that was Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle. And then I went to Hartsdale. And then I went all the way up to White Plains, which is about a 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, you guys got to have it. And they were like, no, we don't. But the guy who was the manager was cool with me. And he goes, dude, I tell you what, I'll give a call to the Poughkeepsie store. He's like, you got a car now, don't you? And it's like, yeah, I got a car. All right.
It transforms.
It does not transform. So they were like, all right, dude, I got you. So he calls his buddy. He's like, my buddy has a comic book shop in Poughkeepsie. Yeah. And it's only about an hour drive. It'll be the best drive of your life because I can get him to hold one to you. I know he got 3. For whatever reason, he ended up with 3 of them. So I was like, bet, call him right now. Let's go. So he goes, and we didn't have mobile phones at this time.
No,
real shitty like flip phone.
Yeah.
He called the store and the guy was like, oh, he's on break. And I was like, well, call him again. Like, get him. Finally got through to him. The guy was like, all right, tell you what, I'll hold it for you. There's only 2 because we had 3 and somebody already bought one. And then somebody else called for one. So if you can get here within the next 3 hours, the second one is yours. I never drove so fast in my life. Yeah.
You are literally on a time sensitive mission here. You got 3 hours to get this toy.
I got 3 hours, not including traffic, to get an hour away. And if you know anything about New York and you see all the shows, there's always traffic. And it's about like right after closing time in Westchester, which is about 6 o'clock, but other places are open later for whatever reason. So I jetted. Went on the Taconic, jumped from the Taconic, went on this other one. It's the Sawmill. These are all places you're like, I don't get it. But yeah, I figured. So if you think about Sopranos, when he comes out of the tunnel. Yeah. So at the top of that, when he like turns on the top of that, that's the border of New York and New Jersey.
Okay.
So I'm going on the border lines on the opposite side of the river where you see like New York City. Yep. I'm going up basically that driveway. So I get up there, I make it in an hour, and an hour and like 30 minutes it took me to get there. And I'm like, hey, is so-and-so here? I can't remember his name. I want to say Jack, but I was like, is Jack here?
Name.
Yeah. I just named Jack. It's Jack. I was like, Jack, is Jack here? I need to find Jack. And they were like, yeah, Jack's in the back. And I was like, where's Jack? I need this box to get in my bag and not in the back. Get Jack for the back so I can get the box, So they call Jack. Jack comes out and he's like, oh, you're Toe's friend. And my friend's name was Toe. And I was like, yeah, I'm Toe's friend. So sure enough, he goes, dude, you're lucky. This other guy was going to pay me double for it. I spent $75 on this toy.
Wow. So that was $75 back then.
And so I was 24. So we're looking like 2004, 2003, something like that.
Yeah.
So, dude. $75. That's like $200 now,
Yeah.
I get this thing, and then you can kind of see it. This guy, the detail.
So he's metal?
He's metal. So the arms here that you see, the chest, chest plates open up, the arms open up. You can kind of see on his arm that it has like a little it has like a laptop in his arm. Pretty cool.
Yep.
That's all metal. The bottom piece where the tires are, they're metal. So I'll flip to the other picture.
Right. Okay.
What's plastic is his like pelvis, the little center.
Okay. So he's got a bit of plastic, but majority is metal.
Majority is metal. So the legs are metal. The like the calves are metal. Right.
So this is a limited edition one. This piece.
Yeah.
So do you know what number is yours, Joe?
Mine is 8150.
8150. Okay. Yeah.
So literally like the last one.
Cool.
There was only like 81,500 total.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like I got number 1 and number 2,
No. At least you got it.
But at least I got it like 30 years later. Yeah. So let's get into why I got it.
Yeah.
you know what? That's what I was doing when I got it. I was like,
you were like, yeah,
yeah, finally.
You
30
like
years.
slid off the bottom of your car. And you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I got out of the car. I slid off the side. I gotta get this game. Oh my god, dude, that was the best day. So
awesome.
why I got it. So as you know, I was unable to get this. My parents wouldn't buy it for me. You could never find them. Then this on the 20th anniversary film, the replay, they had this figure. It was limited edition. There's only like and the commercial is there's only 80,000 of them. So I was like, oh shit. So that's like, think about it. There's 200 million people in the United States. So if 1 million people really like Transformers like I do, I'm screwed. You know?
So you got it because you're obviously you're a massive Transformer fan, but are you an Optimus fan as well?
I am an Optimus fan. Like,
yeah, okay,
you wouldn't believe. Yeah. That
Yeah,
was the one character that I never was able to even get close to finding. They did
Yeah.
re-releases, always would sell out, just like now. And you know, they did a recent re-release, but he was whack looking. I did have one. I had several versions of Optimus because was that dogged, and I eventually did find a couple on eBay, and they were bootlegs. And if you ever get like a bootleg, it's basically Conformity Man. You know what I mean? It's like it's just not right. And then they had one that was kind of cool that lit up because like when he transformed, that chest plate right where like his ribs are, it turned it's lights because he's a car. So that one actually lit up like a car, and it was pretty cool, and it was very flexible and everything, but it was short. It was only like 5 inches. So let's say
you're gonna have to convert
45 millimeters.
There it is. Just for the new viewers here. Obviously, I'm from Australia, and Joe is from the US.
America. Fuck yeah.
That's where that is. Just in case everyone's like, "What is going on here?" So anyway, continue, Joe. Keep going.
Yes. So basically, okay, so it's 12.7 centimeters.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up, Joe. That's great. Just so everyone is clear with that.
Here for you. Yeah. 127 millimeters. Anyway, so it's very small. This one is much larger. It's double the size, basically. Double everything. But you know, it really wasn't the Optimus that I knew, because when he transformed, it was more like a modern truck. It didn't have that square. Like if you look at Optimus Prime,
the original,
he has that square, like that flat truck. All the ones with the modern truck where it like peaks out. So I was like, no, I want the flat truck Optimus. I want the so you know, everybody in my family, every time it's like, you know, I never got that, and they would go, ha, Optimus Prime, you know. So they know you can ask Space Mom. But so the reason why I got it is it's the one constant in my life is my love of Transformers.
Awesome.
And there's another story that's tethered to this, because there's many reasons why I liked Optimus Prime. I love the red, blue, white scheme. It's kind of like America, but like at the same time, it's just a cool color scheme that fits really well.
Yeah.
And I was always a fan of the voiceover actors, because in the movie they had Leonard Nimoy in the movie, but you know, they have Peter Cullen, the original Optimus, and they had Frank Welker, the original Megatron, in the very beginning. And it was cool, man. It was like, oh wow, this is like the same cartoon. I would come run home, watch the reruns of the cartoon, super excited. So then one day I went to a Comic-Con, and I had the original comic, and I was like, you know what? I would like to meet them. So I went to one of the early Wizard Comic-Con. So that was like the real comic book collection cons, that like the ones that are there now, it's a lot of fluff. There's like, oh, this booth for this, and you know, the comic book collection one was like, hey, we've got the guys who did the voiceovers. We got a couple of stars that are like not doing much anymore. And then we got some wrestlers from WWF. You know what I mean? So I brought my original comic 5 years after I bought that figure. And I was like, oh my God, Frank Welker and Peter Cullen were both there. And I got them to sign that comic.
So bring up the comic again, Joe. Can we have a quick look, mate? Because that's pretty cool. I like that.
And then I had to go get it slabbed. I couldn't just have the
comic. Slabbed. Yeah. So there was another.
So I had this since I was really young.
Oh, it's an 8.0. Wow. Good stuff, Joe.
So let me just back up a little bit.
Oh, that's cool. No, there it is. Perfect. There you go.
So there's
the two signatures there. Nice.
Yeah, there's Peter Cullen at the bottom and Frank Welker at the top. And you know what? It's funny. Like, I'm a Star Trek fan, so in the back.
Yeah.
I really like Bones, DeForest Kelly in the back. It's like, is that DeForest Kelly? And I had this comic again, and I was like, oh, I'm sure that this limited series isn't like a big thing. I have the original reboot of the Transformers comic, and it has this really cool picture of Optimus Prime, and it like folds open, and it's like, this is Generation 2. It's not your father's Autobots, you know. So I
So
thought
you've got 1 and 4. Is that what you said at the beginning?
I've got all 4.
Oh, you got all 4.
I got almost the whole collection. It's one of the things I want to fill,
Yeah.
but you know, I got the first 4. The most valuable one out of this series, besides the first one, is the 16th one, because it's first appearances of other characters, and I can't remember exactly, but this one is obviously.
So how much is he worth now? Like, if you without signatures and with signatures are obviously going to.
So without signatures,
increase it.
Yeah, signatures increase it tenfold, but without signatures, it's worth about, let's say, so it was $60 in 2012, you know, and that's just regularly, you know,
ballpark. Doesn't really have to be any, what, $500
maybe
more around there. Yeah, but I guess you know what, you can't put a price on
your nostalgia.
on your nostalgia. Like,
Oh,
you
so
would look at this.
$825.
There you go. 825. So there you go. So you know, I'm assuming that you have this together. You have the Optimus and
I have the box
together
and the comic. Yeah, the box and the comic together. But if you look behind me, if you ever watch our shows and look closely, Optimus is always there because I've always wanted him. So he's always watching over my shoulder.
So did you, when you first got it, did you just like take it out of the box and you just started?
Oh yeah, that was like, nope, it's coming out. I used to have this katana letter opener, and I was like, you know, I've never been so excited to open up a toy. And the other reason why I got it is because this was my uncle and I, when I first moved to New York, my wife, my dad, my parents had a very bad, bitter divorce. And, you know, the male figure in my life that I bonded with was my uncle. And I always wanted to like hang out with him. It was important to me to have somebody to chill with, to, you know, not be my mom. And the Transformers is the thing that like really, wrestling and Transformers is what made us bond. And you know what I mean? Like he was the best man of my wedding, and you know, we're really close. And it was very important to have that original Transformers, because there's a part of me that always reminded Optimus Prime. There was like parallels of my uncle. Yeah. Kind of like,
so when you look at that piece that's sitting there on your shelf, and you have a flood of memories come through, good memories of everything, and that's a beautiful thing, because I think is just a lot of things that people take for granted. You know, we all collect something. There's always something, whether it's a photograph that we take or it's a piece of video footage or something. It's always going to give us some good memories in our lives. And I just, I love it, Joe. I think it's just great.
Thank you. I was super excited to share that one, because I'm even wearing my
I know, yes.
Megatron. You get it? Because it's Megatron, Mega, and he's set up like Tron. So
look at you go. Hey?
Yeah, I'm a machine, man. And this is one of those collections that I'm still going. I'm envious of some folks online that they have an incredible, like, if you remember in the beginning of the show here, I had that intro with the Transformers. They had that big planet thing. That became a toy when I was older, like maybe like 7-8 years ago, but also very rare and very expensive. So 100% plastic, but it costs you $400 if you want it.
So you're planning to getting, obviously you want to add a bit more to the collection, and
you know, this is my official CGC of that comic.
Okay.
A comic grading commission. It took about 6 months back then to get it.
So you sent it off. Took you 6 months to get it back.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no COVID or nothing. This was way before COVID. It still took me forever.
Yeah. So it's pretty much, it was a pristine book when you had it.
Think about it. I've had it since I was a kid. You think I would like flip through it? I read it once, and then I put it on a shelf, and I forgot about it because I got into I got into Power Rangers for a little while. I got into like other things, but I would always go back to Transformers, but I never went back to the comic. And when I moved, I remember like going, oh man, I got to get that comic signed. Like I was supposed to move from New York into, earlier, but I ended up moving in 2016. So I think I got this. Oh, wait, there should be a date on here. I got this bad boy slabbed. Yeah, 1984. Oof, 9/13. So
Wow.
2013, that's when I got it slabbed. So
That's when you got to start.
I know I moved from one room to another, and I must have been when I moved out of my one room into the other that I stumbled on
Yeah.
it again. And I was like, "Oh shit, look at this!" And I went to the Wizard Comic Con and sent them off to CGC.
And there it is.
There he is.
Proudly on your shelf.
Always. So
Right.
look behind me and always remember, all we need is a little bit of hope and a lot of energy on.
Look at that. I love it, Joe. I
Yeah.
love it. And you still got the original, but obviously the box as well. We saw the box and
Oh
you
yeah.
still got that,
Yeah,
haven't you?
that's the original. That's the very original
yeah,
box.
yeah,
It gives him his power, everything he's got except for speed, but he makes up for it in a lot of other
yeah.
ways. You see, it's die-cast construction. He changes from the truck. This is the 20th
DVD edition.
anniversary DVD edition.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And just a reminder that the chest plate opens up. You can see the metal
Yeah.
over it
You can see
opens
the
up,
door.
and you got the matrix of leadership right in the center.
Nice.
So it's super
Very,
cool.
very cool, Joe. Very,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
That is a very cool piece that you've got there, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that story, Joe. I think that's great. I love that, and this is what this show is all about. Everything has a story that I guess that we all collect, and some pieces that we have in our collection mean more than anything. And you know, sometimes you can't put a price on it. So
That's right.
it's good to share that, Joe. So that is awesome.
Yeah, he's not my most expensive piece, but he's my
No,
most heartfelt piece. That piece
correct.
means a lot.
That means, yeah, that's what it's all about, Joe. So that is awesome. I think that's about it, mate. I think
Yeah.
that'll wrap the show up for this week. Next week, we have our very, very first guest
Yes.
for next week.
Super excited.
Very excited to talk to this guest. We won't give too much, but yeah, very super excited to talk about this guest and their collection because they have a very large collection of another famous character, I guess, in the 80s.
Yep.
As well. So
Yeah, that character knocked out Transformers. So I was like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
There
back
you
in the
go.
day, like there was a block of cartoons that was consistent for like a
Yeah.
year. Usually
Yeah.
it changes in the months, but this one for a year was like Transformers, Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. Then
Yeah.
it was there was another Ghostbusters show on the
Yeah.
GoBots. So
Yeah.
like that was the block. It was always like, oh, okay, these are always good. And then all of a sudden Disney kind of bought some of the channel. So then I put all these Disney shows in, and then the block changed. But then another channel had the other show that we were talking about, and it knocked out Ghostbusters and Transformers. I was like, no, but
Damn you.
You bastard. So but then I love
next
that
week-
too. So I was like, you know what?
So we're gonna have to separate you guys next week. Then. Give you a little bit of, nah, all good. Looking forward to it. That's it, Joe. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Off the Shelf. Like we said before, guys, we would love just hit that subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell for us, guys. We'd really, really appreciate it. So until next week, we'll see you all on the next Off the Shelf. Bye for now.